You know that moment. You're sitting across from someone on a date or standing next to a match you finally agreed to meet. And you know you should say something, but your brain just shuts down. So you default to, "How's your week been?" They give you a short answer. You both sit there in a silence that feels louder than it should. And you think, "I'm just not good at this." If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. But here's the thing. You're not bad at conversation. You're doing it the wrong way. And almost nobody teaches the right one. Here's what we're covering. Why that freeze actually happens. What confident daters do differently without even realizing it. And by the end, one simple 3-word phrase that can turn a dead conversation into one that actually goes somewhere. Most people don't ruin a date with one big mistake. They ruin it quietly. One flat question at a time, one awkward silence at a time, until the whole thing just fizzles out and neither person really knows why. It's not dramatic, it's not memorable, it's just small, forgettable friction, over and over, until you stop getting second dates and you're not even sure what went wrong. Here's the part that surprised me. It's not because you don't have interesting things to say. It's not because you're not charming or witty enough. The real issue isn't what you're saying at all. It's what you're noticing. Picture it. You're at dinner or a coffee shop first date. You know you should say something, but your mind goes blank. So you ask, "What do you do?" Or, "How's your day going?" The conversational equivalent of plain toast. They give you a short answer. You both sit there, and you quietly decide you're just bad at this. But here's what's actually happening. You're treating them like a form to fill out, not a person to connect with. You're asking questions that put all the pressure on them. They have to think of something interesting to say, worry about how they sound, and basically carry the whole conversation by themselves. That's exhausting. That's why they shut down too. The people who seem naturally good at this aren't more charming than you. They're just doing something different, and it's learnable. Here's the shift. Instead of asking questions, shift to making observations. Instead of, "What do you do?" try, "You ordered like someone who already knew exactly what they wanted before you even sat down." Instead of, "How's your week been?" try, "Something tells me you almost canceled on me at least once today." This works because you're removing pressure and adding curiosity. You're not demanding they explain themselves. You're just noticing something out loud and giving them room to engage with it or laugh it off either way. But here's where people still get it wrong. They make boring observations. "Nice jacket." "Cool, you like coffee too." Technically an observation, but it kills the conversation just as fast as a generic question does, because it doesn't invite anything back. One quick caution before we go further. This only works when it's warm, not clever. If it feels like you're performing a line, it lands exactly like one. Read the room. The goal is to sound curious about them, not impressed with yourself. The difference between an observation that opens a conversation and one that kills it comes down to 3 things: specificity, a touch of exaggeration, and an implied story. Specificity means noticing something particular, not generic. Not nice profile pic. That hiking photo on your profile looked like it was taken right before something went wrong. A touch of exaggeration adds energy without going overboard. Instead of, "You seem tired," try, "You have the exact energy of someone who's been rehearsing what to say on this date since Tuesday." Dramatic enough to be fun, relatable enough to feel true. An implied story hints that there's more underneath. "That playlist you mentioned in your bio sounds like it has a whole backstory," suggests there's something worth asking about, without you having to directly ask. Put those 3 together, and you're not just making a comment. You're painting a small picture the other person naturally wants to confirm or correct. That's the difference between silence and an actual exchange. If you want the simplest way to actually do this in the moment, here are the 3 words. "I bet that." "I bet that playlist has a story behind it." "I bet that hike didn't go exactly as planned." "I bet that isn't actually your usual order." This phrase works because it does 3 things at once. It makes a genuine observation about their experience. It shows you're actually paying attention to them specifically, not just running through a script. And it opens a door for them to share without feeling interrogated. The real value isn't the phrase itself. It's what it forces you to do. To use it, your brain has to actually notice something specific about the person in front of you, instead of defaulting to the same 3 questions everyone else asks. That's the whole shift, in 3 words. Here's the part that actually matters more than the technique. This isn't about becoming smoother or more impressive on dates. You don't need to be interesting. You need to be interested. That's the entire secret underneath all of this. The overthinking, the blank mind freeze, the flat, "How's your day?" None of that means something's wrong with you. It's just a pattern. And like any pattern, it's learnable, and it's changeable. Small shifts like this one, noticing instead of interrogating, are exactly the kind of pattern-level change this channel is built around. If this resonated, I go deeper into exactly this kind of pattern in the full video on this channel, where I break down the daily rhythm that actually supports genuine connection, instead of leaving it to chance. Links in the description if you want to go further. Next time you're sitting across from someone and your mind goes blank, don't reach for another generic question. Notice one specific thing. Add a little playful exaggeration. Imply there's a story behind it. Start with, "I bet that," and let the conversation actually unfold from there.